Hello, I'm Susan Ross, and I'm here to give you a brief overview instruction on reading comprehension by talking about the role of the brain in reading comprehension, also talking about one method to use to teach students to comprehend what they are reading, and finally to talk about how to teach young readers to comprehend both word and world. So let's start with what is the role of the brain in reading comprehension. When my mother was a teacher and studied reading comprehension, she used to refer to working memory capacity as the concept of two, or an ability of a child to hold information in mind while working with other information. Amusingly, she made this reference when she watched our dog at the time, Henry, hold one toy in his mouth while he batted around another toy. Concept of two, she would announce proudly. But somehow, Henry never learned to read. Humans are not beset with the dog's limitations. The power of the human brain demonstrated by reading comprehension points to humans' superior brains to animals. Not only does the child hold together simultaneous ideas, but also the child engages with executive skills, which are, according to Kelly Cartwright, cognitive flexibility, working memory, and inhibition, which is defined as the ability to resist engaging in a habitual response as well as the ability to ignore distracting information. Henry wasn't wired for these kinds of sophisticated brain activities, especially working memory. He just really wanted to play. Animals live in the moment, and they lack the executive skills that humans have in order to tie the written word they might see on the page to their own imaginative thoughts, feelings, images, and ideas. All right, once we understand the role of the brain in children's reading comprehension, how do we as teachers teach children to comprehend what they are reading? Scholars list a number of components of reading comprehension: activating prior knowledge, questioning, summarizing, visualizing, using text structures, and comprehension monitoring. To help understand the link between how the brain's executive skills function in reading and strategies that can be used to teach reading comprehension, we can look at one of these components, visualizing, which is a strategy involving the creation by the reader and ultimately first by the teacher and ultimately by the reader of artificial constructs and realistic representations of textual elements, and is one of the components of the executive skills involved in reading that we just talked about. We can examine how visualizing might work as a reading comprehension strategy with the example of a well-known children's book, Charlotte's Web. This is an imaginative tale about interspecies relationships, and it's redolent with emotion, life-death issues, love, and the cycle of life. The book already coaxes the reader to imagine animals beyond that which everyday encounters might reveal. In fact, as one writer describes in his article, The Radiant Life, Thoughts on the Enduring Significance of Charlotte's Web, quote unquote, in a lifetime there are few stories that light up the imagination so vividly that they change how we see the world. Such a tale is Charlotte's Web. A teacher can activate prior knowledge using example of learners' pets, as I exemplified in my discussion of our dog Henry. What experience of animals do young readers have? And then preliminary knowledge questioning heightens their imagination so they can ponder questions about animals' deeper experiences. Could animals have rich inner lives? Do they communicate with each other? Do they love each other? Do they seek to save each other? Maybe spiders really do communicate with pigs in the barnyard, for instance. It's certainly worth considering. And why can't Henry learn to read, by the way? Visualizing could make for a lively discussion that would prime young readers with curiosity. How does the world of animals relate to our own lives? This combination of visualizing and discussion is a solid way to set up a framework for ultimate comprehension by igniting active thinking, emotions, and questions that hanker to be answered. So how do we use this to ensure that children comprehend both word and world? Well, the strategy of visualizing, which is used to enhance reading comprehension, has the potential to do what one reading scholar and author of a textbook about reading comprehension strategies calls constructing beautiful mosaics of meaning through, quote unquote, the sum of information from the text and the reader's background knowledge, ideas, and opinions, which are all to be shared in a unique way. This metaphor of a mosaic works well for a book about animals. No child is ambivalent about animals or lacks an opinion or feeling about them. Children are already pre-programmed for vibrant visualizing. And so you can use a book about animals to help students find wonder in the world. This is what one scholar discusses in her book about how to teach reading comprehension and social studies, help students contemplate big life issues and explore how they know what they know. The advice that she outlines for teaching reading with an eye to larger social issues is easy to follow. 3 steps: inspire wonder, paint a picture, and critically question traditional views of historical and social events. How do you do that? Different methods: read alouds, shared reading, independent reading workshops, guided reading, independent writing, word study, and literature circles. And this same scholar provides an example of having students critically analyze a photo taken by Dorothea Lange with questioning probes that invite students to understand the world. This artifact analysis activity serves as a template for how to engage students to think about an illustrated book about animals, because asking questions engenders visualization. Once you've asked students questions about how they feel and what they think and what they know looking at the photo, you get a guide about how to engage students actively as they contemplate not only what they are going to see and read on the page, but what ideas are being conveyed in the story. The ultimate goal, from a social justice perspective, since we want to teach students to comprehend not only word but world, is to teach students to think critically about the values that the book conveys. Charlotte's Web presents us with lots of information about values: humility, love, radiance, and big life and death issues like keeping a tender heart, accepting one's true nature, and valuing the gifts of others. As you learn about teaching comprehension, you will find that visualizing is a great preparatory strategy and one that links well with the others. Keeping in mind this example of Charlotte's Web and the questions you can use to generate mental images and ideas, I hope you understand how just this one strategy can be used to teach reading comprehension. It's only one strategy, but it works well for Common Core States Standard reading for literature and speaking and listening. Not so well with reading and just speaking, but since Common Core standards are on everybody's mind, I thought I would make that mention. And that's your introduction now to the reading comprehension strategy of visualizing, something that my dog Henry couldn't execute and thus therefore never learned to read. But your students can, and especially wonderful would be Charlotte's Web as a way of doing that. Thank you.